Hi everybody, welcome to TFT Tarot for today, Divine Dabblings with Oberon and Banshee, and it's me, Oberon, with my weekly show, The Outlook on the Emotional Exchanges. It's a weekly program, and I'm in the process of revamping it. I've just moved it from based on the astrological signs to something maybe a little more easier and briefer, because I think that's the message I was getting, was we wanted something different. Anyway, here it is. And what I do now instead is I do a reading based on several questions, and we're looking at those questions in terms of whether your status is a single person and happily single, not necessarily seeking a relationship, happy with your status. And then also for those who are seeking relationships, whether they are in one or are single, but are specifically seeking a relationship. And then those who are settled in a relationship and are not seeking or not necessarily seeking, but the question may pertain to their settled status as a couple or in a relationship. So here we go. Let me just pull up my reading so I have it there. Alrighty, and like I mentioned, it's not really for the astrological signs. It's for everyone. So here we go. First question, how can I be better at communicating my feelings? And so the emphasis is going to be more on more on you as a person seeking relationships or in relationships with people as friends or otherwise, rather than what happens externally in a relationship's point of view. I'm not sure if I can express that exactly, but we'll muddle through this. And I'm using the Modern Love Tarot, a tarot I love to use, by Ethony, art by Linda Morningstar. It is very modern. Most of the cards are interpreted through a religious lens of sorts. So, how can I be better at communicating my feelings? For singles, it's the Four of Wands. For seeking, it's the Eight of Pentacles reversed. And then for settled relationships, it's the Queen of Swords. And I need to make an adjustment on the camera. Doesn't quite have them in the proper view. Does that work better? Just got to position them a little bit. Singles can be better at communicating their feelings when they realize that maybe they are already connected and already involved in something that's growing. So in other words, maybe they have to just enjoy whatever relationships they have, whether they're friendships or whatever, but remembering what that tapestry is, that history is, as a way of communicating what their feelings are. So that's going to need some work probably, because nothing comes to mind specifically. There's probably many ways to approach that. Now, for those who may be seeking, communicating your feelings maybe revolves around the idea of respecting how people want to work at things, how people want to plan and work on relationships themselves. So if you are seeking, you have to understand that maybe different people may manage or think about, their emotional geography differently, and you have to, learn to accept that. For settled people, communicating your feelings maybe means being honest about what your intentions ultimately are, or what you feel is ultimately fair. And so, of course, when you're talking about more than one person, there could be more than one idea about what is fair. All right. Question 2. Is what you are seeking available? And of course, this applies to something that we are seeking that is emotionally happy or fulfilling. So, of course, the obvious is the relationship or situation with somebody that they feel drawn to. But for those who are not in relationships or seeking, or those who aren't seeking, period, what they seeking a person, what they are drawn to or emotionally feeling strong about, could be a very different thing. Is it or is it not possible? And singles have the Emperor reversed. Seeking has the Six of Cups. And settled has the reversed Eight of Swords. Well, whatever is desired by people who are not necessarily in relationships or seeking relationships, single people, there may be something that is controlling your access to it. It just sort of seems like right now you have to do something more managerial in a way of acquiring this or moving closer to this particular thing you're seeking. So once again, that's very broad, but I think it could apply to a lot of different situations. It may be about having a positioning that would allow you to enact, and you have to work on that because you probably don't. So people who are seeking a relationship, is that relationship available? And it's the Five of Cups. And it may be saying that there are strings attached, or that going into this relationship may cause somebody somewhere a sense of loss or pain. So it almost sounds as if it's no, that person or relationship you seek is not really available, not without causing loss or pain to someone, yourself included. Settled relationships, it's the Eight of Swords. And what you are seeking, what you want, whether it's something more in your relationship or something else that you just really like, it's moving to a state where it's free, where it is available. It may not have been available, or may not have been interested in some way. Something may have been kind of holding it back somehow. I'll just kind of leave it at that. And we're going to move on to the next question. How can I set healthy boundaries? And that, of course, implies within relationships of all kinds. So the implication could be that it's in seeking it's in creating a boundary in what you are currently seeking this week, whether it's in a relationship or another relationship or something you really like or want. How can I create the healthy boundaries? All right, singles have the reversed Ace of Pentacles. Seeking has the High Priestess upright. Settled has the reversed Ten of Cups. Setting a healthy boundary, if you're a single person, and we're talking about maybe something that's going on currently in your life with your relationship with something you like, not necessarily a person. It feels like there's a process of waiting on this. It may be something that is going to be slow to develop. So this maybe implies that you don't really have that situation going yet, or that it's going to always have a sense of removal from you. You're not going to be very adjacent to whatever this is. It just may be something you're still trying to move closer to. Now, with people who are seeking a relationship, setting the boundary maybe implies realizing this at an instinctual level, that to some degree you should be able to understand almost inside yourself, consciously or subconsciously, where those boundary levels should be. And if that's really confusing, then maybe it's possible this isn't really the kind of relationship you should be working on. There may be, something else. I'm not sure. So then, if you're already in a relationship, if you're settled in your relationship, setting the healthy boundary means that it's not about just the primary relationship, that you have to realize there's other factors and actors in your relationship, children or other dependents or people that are close, brothers-in-law, sisters-in-law, cousins. Any of these people could possibly be important. And so you have to maybe remember that as well, and not try to do things to block that or stop that. Don't be setting a boundary for somebody else in the relationship. No, you can't have opposite gender friends. I've heard of that. Of course, I don't think we're talking to that crowd, but something like that. All right, so those are my questions, except I have one last question that's just for the collective, so I will only pull one card. And of course, that question is, how should any of us express universal, unconditional love in the world today? And so once again, I am using the Modern Love Tarot. And last week I had a fourth question for the singles seeking settled, but I've dropped that question for this week. I didn't really like how that played out. It sort of changed the focus of the reading. So if you remember that and you miss it this week, you should let me know. How do we express universal love in our world? And it is the Five of Pentacles reversed. And I think that means we have to welcome the person who is on the outside. We have to try to help them find their way in. And maybe that's ourselves. We have to find our way into the greater circle of humanity or humanhood. We have to realize that at times all of us feel like we are on the outside looking in and we're not where we're supposed to be, and help each other figure that out, where we are all supposed to be. Sometimes things have divided us and kept us from being in the places we thought we should be. This could be, a card approaching that kind of level, a feeling that, there's still classist or cultural or religious or other ways that kind of don't allow people to mix and mingle or to understand each other's perspectives. So this is hoping that's what each of us can do, is try to help someone else find their way in. And that could just apply to the personal things too. Maybe you know somebody that needs to be closer to what it is you do, to your culture or your beliefs. Try to welcome and find them and bring them in. Good luck with that. All right, so let me know how you like the new reading, and don't forget to watch Happy Hour tomorrow. It will be at its normal time of 10 a.m. So we will see you tomorrow for that. That's a live stream. We're also back on Sunday morning at Banshee's Material Matters. We are live in the chat room. It is a recorded reading, but it's good astrological information on the tarot keys to success for each sign. So check that out, and we'll be there in the chat room live. And usually there's a lively crowd with us. It's a good show. We're also back live later on Sunday afternoon from 2 to 4 p.m. to answer our general questions and sort. So check us out then. And we will see you soon. Bye-bye.